Hey everyone, welcome to my dining room, aka my tufting area. I hope you can see everything fine because it's been a struggle finding an area where this big frame will fit. This is the frame I built myself. I started out by going to the hardware stores and getting a couple of 2x2s and cutting them into two pieces. One is 120 centimeters, the other is 90. I also went through my stash and found some pieces that were part of a frame before, and they actually fit this one perfectly. I also already had these corner brackets. I started out by assembling the two 4x4s and then adding the supports at the back. The next step was adding all my little spikes. I used 1-inch nails. Normally you would use carpet strips. I added the nails to the frame about an inch or 4 centimeters apart. I also added a ring bolt so I could put my yarn through it. I added some extra little pieces here on the bottom so it cannot slide backwards, and I put on the clamps. So hopefully it's going to be okay for tufting. We're going to be putting this fabric onto the frame. As you can see, I've got all these little spikes and hopefully it will hold the fabric. It's 1 meter wide, 2 meters long. I'm going to start in one corner. I'm just going to loosely put it on for now, and hopefully this works because I couldn't get those carpet strips, so I'm not sure it's going to stay put. It's really strange to not be in my crafting room and also being in front of the camera instead of behind it. So please be kind in the comments. I would really appreciate it. Okay, so now it's really loose, as you can see. We need to tighten it, and I think I'm just gonna start by pulling it down. You want it to be really, really tight. So I'm just going to roll from side to side and then back to the top and the bottom and keep stretching it. Getting better. Okay, let me have a play with this and I'll show you when it's all done. So I've been pulling on the sides and the bottom for a while. So this is how tight it is now. I think it sounds like a drum. So I think it should be fine. It still has a little bit of give. I don't think I'm gonna get it any tighter. I think we can start and do some tests on here. I don't think the center is a good idea. I'm gonna start on one side, but I don't have any designs. I just want to test out how it actually works. So the next step is to actually thread our tufting machine. And as you can see, this is the type of needle we have. And we've got the B1. This is the way you have to put the thread through. They say to put 2 strands through the hole, but only have one of each color. So I was thinking to put just 2 together. I think that's the best solution. I've got a big bin and I'm just going to put the yarn inside so it just can roll around. That way I don't have to have those cones. Just going to take both of these ends. So the bin is down here. And here's a loop. I'm just gonna put both of the threads through there, like so. I've got that little loopy thing. It says to go through the hole of the needle, like so. Then through this little hole here, like that. And then we need to pull the thread. So I'm just gonna put these ends through that little iron loop and pull through, like that. And this should be good to go, I guess. I really have no clue, people. I'm just trying to figure it out. I haven't watched any videos because I'm trying to show you how it would look like if you buy one of these and just try and get it started with just a booklet. So there's actually not a whole lot of other instructions. I'm a little bit scared of this getting tangled, but let's just try it for now. I'm just gonna push it in all the way, and there is like a guide, and I'm just gonna push it in and, well, let's try it. Need to switch it on. Okay, well, the start wasn't as good, but I'm gonna have a sneak peek. Okay. It does not look horrible on the other side, so let's just try to put something next to it. So what I'm noticing is that you really need to push quite hard onto the fabric. Hopefully you can see this a little bit better. So what I do is I just poke it in and then push and go. I'm gonna try to put one in between here. So I think the straight lines are working fine. I want to show you the other side. So this is what the other side is looking like. It's not perfect. You can see a bunch of space between this. Like, I don't think it's bad for like just trying it out. I think it's a good height to trim, but you can see there are shorter pieces and longer pieces. I want to try some curves. So I'm just going to try and freehand a curve. And I'm just going to go something like that. keep forgetting to turn it on again. You know the punch needling I did? You need to have the hole of the needle pointing in the direction you're going. So if I'm going to go that way, this is pointing up. So I'm going to point it that way. I think here I went a little bit too fast. And then here, I think I went a little bit too slow. And if I look on the other side, this part is actually not too bad. I think it's actually better than this part. So I think I might have to go a little bit slower. So I'm gonna try again. Well, I don't think that's actually better. Let's try this again. Like, I've got a feeling it wants to go up. So maybe I need to make sure my design has either bigger curves or more straight lines. And that's okay. I think I need a lot more practice. Maybe I need to draw a couple of designs on here, like maybe a triangle or a star, and try to get that design and fill it in so I can actually see how it looks when it's like fully done. Because the going straight part isn't that hard. I'm going to show you the other side again. I don't think it's horrible. You can clearly see that this yarn isn't the best quality, and I think you need to be very careful because you can easily pull it out. I think we need to try like a little bit harder shape, like a star. So don't judge my drawing, but I'm going to try and make this shape. And I think I'm just going to start here. Trying to not get too much tension. I really want to go slow, but I don't know if I'm putting it up or down. That feels a little bit better. I like this speed a lot. Still a little bit hard to control. So let's see how I would fill this up. I think I would start in the middle. I do think this is a little bit too wide. I'm really running out of yarn. There's these two little prongs on the top, and I'm keeping the one on the line I already did as a guide. It makes it a little bit easier. As you can see, the brown is almost gone. I don't think we're gonna make it. That was the brown. I only have a tiny bit of green left. Here's the end already. It doesn't want to cut it when it's a single thread. So, well, that was it. No more threads. So let's see how it looks on the other side. So this is the other side, and it actually isn't that bad. I really think this is quite forgiving. A couple weird threads here and there, but nothing that's not fixable. It's also kind of filled out nicely. I think as a first test, using the yarn that was provided, I think that's pretty good. Like, the size is quite big for two really tiny balls of yarn. I think I'm gonna try and design something and find some yarn I like and just go for a big piece. So be continued. I did a little bit more off camera and I just tried a smiley. It looks absolutely horrible, but I think I can test my clippers on it. And I also put some glue on the smiley and on the star. I wanted to test it before I bought anything else. And then there's another test I want to do. I want to try and pull this out, like all of it, and see if I can close the holes. So this is how it's looking after everything is removed. And I just want to test this because if you make a mistake, I want to know if you can actually fix it. So I'm just going to take a spoon and I'm going to rub. You can see the threads are closing again. So this is how it should look, and this is how it's looking. There are some broken threads, but it's perfectly usable again. So it's the next day, and these are dry, but I've got this big area here that I think I want to use before I go and do my big piece, because I'm not really sure if I'm ready to go really big. I was thinking about doing a mirror frame about this big. It should have enough space. So let's do that, like so. So that's my outer perimeter. And I was thinking about the inside being this big. So that's about the center. So how many petals can we do? I think I'm just gonna go in between, something like that. And I just need to round these corners. I think maybe this will work. And then we have to pick some colors because I want to do each petal in a different color. I think I like it. So let me go grab some yarn. This is my big tub of colors. And I think I want to use this kind of yarn. It's a size 4, 4.5 hook. These are the colors I came up with. The first thing we need to do is grab our black and start outlining. Put my black inside of my container, and I added a bucket for the second bowl. So I've got 2 lines, and I actually added a little piece of wood up here with another hook. So I think we're ready to start our outlines. I'm gonna stand on a little step stool. Maybe I'll just do a test line here just to get the feeling of it again. Let's just go for it. Not too bad. Let's do the straight ones. Oh, so that's what I was scared about. Everything coming unthreaded again. But I'm just going to rethread the machine. I really was hoping it would stay in a little bit better. Let's see. I really think there's too much tension on it, but you want it to have a little bit of tension because otherwise the wool gets caught on the machine. You don't want that. Okay, let's see how well these go because these are the harder ones. That's not too bad, actually. So I'm just gonna go in short bursts. It seems to work. This is horrible, so I'm just gonna pluck it out and scratch the fabric. Let's do another one. Going straight up or straight to the side is the easiest. Going at an angle, the fabric just does not want to do this. So I think going at the angle and going really slow is better. Let's try this one again. And there it goes again. Well, I'm just gonna rethread the machine. I'm gonna try this curve. Absolutely horrible. This is why I wanted to try this before I went to the big one. Okay, I'm just gonna finish the black and I'll show you.
I'm fine. It's fine.
I'm gonna do this one here and I'm gonna try to do everything going straight up. And I'm trying to keep the little foot on the right in between the 2 lines just as a guide. As you can see, this yarn doesn't slide out. I think this is a little bit thicker than the black one. That's what happened. So here, the rest of the yarn that I pulled ended. So I've got my end here. I'm going to just pull more and put it into the bucket. And then I'm just going to take this a little bit through the eye. And then I'm just going to put it in through the machine. Okay, ready to go. I'm just going to redo that little piece like that. Almost done. I'm going to look if it needs something here. But I think it looks okay on the other side. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the yarn that's left and I'm going to weigh it because I weighed it before I started because I needed to know if I'm going to have enough of that yellow. So this was 58 before I started. I did this whole thing and I'm going to weigh it again. So I just checked and this is 8 grams. I used 9. So I think I'm just going to try and hope for the best. So I finished this piece and I have this much left over. So I just made it and it looks good on the other side. So I'm happy. I'm gonna go and do the other colors now. So this is what it's looking like. And I've learned a couple things. Do your line work wider than you think you need. So I'm just gonna walk around and show you. So this is the other side. And as you might see, I tried adding more lines, but in some areas I just didn't have enough space. So you can see the blue and the green just ate the black. On this side it's wider, it has a little bit more space. So I learned that, make your lines wider, but I think it's looking good. I'm going to put the glue on and let it dry. And then we're going to be shaving these 3. I'm going to start with the star because that's the one that I don't like. Then probably do the smiley and then do the flower. And if I still have time, I'm gonna do the big piece, and otherwise that's going to be a part 3. So it's been a couple days because I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, but I think I want to try and shave it on the frame and see what it does. It's already getting really dirty. I don't know if I need like a brush to clean it in between. Okay, so what I'm feeling is every time I push, it wobbles. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut these out and take them into my filming room and shave them there. So we're back in my crafting room and I've got my carpet cleaner. It has this little edge and I've seen people doing like this in between. I do see that my glue didn't get everything, but I think that's okay. I just want to try some more shaving. Also got a little brush because there's a lot of dust collecting there. And I thought it might be better to put on a mask just to not breathe in all those little particles. So I'm gonna put that on, and I'm just gonna try and shave this down a little bit more. Now I remember why I don't like these. I'm instantly breathless. I think I went like a little bit too short. I think I'm going to take it out of the stand because I don't think this works for smaller pieces. I think you're just going to have to wing it. And as you can see, I sanded the whole inside just to make it possible to get the clippers through here. Let's see how it works. It's quite hard to control how far you go, and it's also not very even. I think this is actually the hardest part of the whole rug tufting thing. If you brush it like this, you can see that this area is a lot lower than the rest. That's where I made a little mistake. So I think you need to just have a lot of patience and keep going. I think I might need to put a little bit of oil on there. It instantly is quite sticky. Let's see if we can do one of the sides. So I think I'm just gonna keep going and show you when I finish this one. I'm not gonna do a big rug now. I'm gonna do that in a different video. I'm going to put my focus on trying to shave these down and get the smiley and the flower looking as good as I can, so I know how to work the machine and how it feels, and then go for a big rug. So I already learned a lesson, and that's to finish your edge before you start carving, because you can cut into the fabric. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use my glue gun and finish the edges on this one. And I'm also going to finish the edge on this one and see if it really makes a big difference. Got it heating up.
A few minutes later.
I think it's hot enough. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna put glue on here, something like that. Just gonna try and push it on and not burn myself. That's why I got the stick. So I'm just going to glue all the sides of this one and the smiley. And I'll get back to you when it's time to carve the smiley face and see if we can make it look a little bit better than this one. Even though, like, it's not horrible, but this was the first thing I did, and I'm quite happy with how it's working as a test piece. And the whole point of this video is again me showing you how a regular first time user is going to struggle or not. So I finished the back, and as you can see, now we have an edge of yarn. And if you look at this one, some areas there is still a little bit sticking out, but like here, it's like, yeah, it doesn't look good. So I do recommend finishing the edges first before starting with the clippers. And I'm gonna try this little device one more time and see if it actually does something. That's weird. It was working fine just a second ago. I think something's wrong because if you turn this on, there's a light behind it. But now when I'm turning it on, it doesn't do that. And I didn't do anything different. Okay. There's nothing, you cannot take it out and put a new one on. Maybe I tripped a witch or something. I'm gonna have to think of what to do, but I think it's broken. I think that's it. I cannot go any further. So I think I figured it out. So what happened is I probably had either the little button switched on, or I had the dial not on off, and it tripped the switch in the machine. And I've had this happen with different machines as well. And I was scrolling on the internet already thinking about buying a new one, but these things are really expensive when you buy just the clippers. It's almost cheaper to buy a whole new set. So I just decided to try it like an hour later, and as you can see, it works. So let's continue. I'm just gonna try and see if I can get this to work this time. Otherwise, I'm just gonna take it off. Did you see what happened? It just went almost all the way in. I don't know why. It's supposed to help you keep straight, but it somehow just dives in. Well, let's just continue, see if we can save it. So I think that worked better. So I'm just going from the inside out and just pressing on the back side. So when moving, I'm not pressing on here, I'm just pressing on the back side. And that way it doesn't want to go down and eat the carpet. So let's clean this up a little bit. It's already looking a lot better, but when you brush the carpet, you can see that there are pieces that are still longer. Like for example, I don't know if you can see, but here there are a couple pieces sticking out. It's not completely flat. So I'm just gonna go over it a couple more times, try and get it to straighten out. And then we're gonna carve the eyes in the mouth. So let's see if we can make these eyes pop. I think I'm gonna try to do the yellow first. So it's already looking a little bit better. Now I just did like about a centimeter. I think I want to get it to a little bit further out. Let's see. So I think you can see the difference. Like here, it's completely flat. And on this side, do you see that there's a dip in here? It's really hard to show, but I'm trying to get the eye to pop. Yeah, I think I'm gonna take it out a little bit further and then probably try and get the eye, like the black, to be round as well. So I'm just gonna do that to the other eye, and then I'm probably gonna do the sides and show you.
1 hour later.
So if you are like me, a perfectionist, I don't think this hobby is for you, because I've spent, I think, about an hour on this already and I'm still not happy, but I'm going to try and do the edges. I decided I didn't want to carve the mouth and just have the eyes poking out. So let's just see. And I'm just going to go like that, I guess. Oh. Making a mistake is so easy. It's definitely something that looks easier than it actually is. So I think I'm going to finish the edge with the scissors. I think that's looking quite nice. Hopefully I'm not going too short. I think he's done. We still need to add a backing, but for now, I think this one is done. And I'm going to mentally prepare myself to do the flower. And I'm not sure if I'm going to show you the process, maybe a little bit, because this is probably going to be already a really long video. So this is how it's looking after I finish the back. And I used about 4 glue sticks on all of this. And after burning off, I think, most of my fingerprints, I used a little cupcake holder to push on it. And that's actually worked really well. And I again plugged in this one. It was turned off. This was turned off. I plugged it in, turned it on. It sparked, and again, it's not working. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna wait for an hour and see if it wants to turn on. Otherwise, there's just something wrong in this thing. So yeah, please hold. So it's working again. I think somehow it's just maybe static electricity. I don't know. It just shuts off. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to freehand this, because I don't want to bother putting this on. It won't fit on here anyway. So I'm just going to try and shave it in the shape I want just by freehanding it. It's maybe not going to look good, but we'll just have to wait and see. So here are the final results. This was my first piece, and as you can see, it's not perfect, but I think I've learned a lot doing this piece. It gave me the time to figure out what to do and what not to do. So then I did the smiley face, and as you can see, this already looks so much better. I'm really happy how it turned out, and the shaving is actually also really nice. I also finished the back on this one. I added some felt, but I do think you should use a little bit thicker felt, and maybe don't use hot glue, because as you can see, you get all these weird bumps. So maybe use a different spray adhesion. But yeah, I really like this one, and I think I'm going to use it as like a coaster. And here's the final piece, and as you can see, I added a mirror, because there you are. But I decided to not finish the back, because I actually put in a little hanging hook so I can hang it on the wall, and that's why I didn't finish the back. You're not gonna see it. And the way I put the mirror in is I used some silicone caulking, because that was the only thing that actually stuck to the glass of the mirror. I really do like how the shaving came out. And again, I learned so much, making your lines a lot thicker. Otherwise, you're not gonna get a nice clean divide between the two colors. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. I would love to hear them. And if you're gonna actually buy one of those kits yourself, I actually think it is worth your money. It's not that expensive if you count that every single piece separately cost more than double or even triple the price. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you don't want to miss any future uploads, please subscribe. It's free and it really helps my channel. But for now, I want to thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye everyone!